It was during this 2009 Max Air Show that the Russian Defense Ministry signed a $2.5 billion contract for 64 fighter jets from a Russian arms dealing company, Export, which consisted of a 48 aircraft launch order for the Skhoi SU-35 serial. These Skhoi SU-35 jet fighters were to be sold to 6 countries in Africa that had shown interest in procuring fighter jets, Uganda inclusive. However, the Russian government estimated price was $40 million for each fighter jet to be sold to Africa as Uganda finalized its payment for its 6 fighter jets in July 2011. According to Shadow Finance Minister Geoffrey Kanya, says brokers and some top officials in the ministry inflated the prices that were supposed to cost between $40 to $65 million to $120 million.
We shall table the evidence. We are compiling the evidence and we want them to table the evidence regarding these jet fighters and who took which money.
But Defense Minister Crispus Kyungu says the ministry is ready to tender its evidence before Parliament on conditions that disciplinary measures are taken against whoever is alleging.
The jet we bought to protect this country, we pay 3 times the amount paid by other people. What I request this House, right honorable, is that we need to go deep into those statements. They did not pass unchallenged. And I hope that there will be consequences for who will be found to have told right to the country.
The chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, Kassiano Wadri, says the procurement of these Skhoi SU-35 jet fighters was illegal, arguing that Parliament was never consulted.
First of all, these jets were procured without authority from Parliament. You remember a supplementary was secured to pay for these jets before it sought approval from Parliament. And the Parliament came up and it was more or less, I will call it twisted as it were, because it had no alternative but to give a retrospective authority when the water had already flown under the bridge.
However, Kassiano says whereas evidence in the procurement process of these jet fighters is overwhelming, the Ministry of Defense is likely to hide the entire bidding process under classified expenditure.
I told Parliament and I will undertake the responsibility to get to the Auditor General and find out if these classified expenditures have been audited.
The Ministry of Defense has in the past revealed that it spent $720 million, an equivalent of 1.7 trillion Uganda shillings, to procure the 6 fighter jets. If these allegations are to go by, it means brokers and the procurement officials at the Ministry of Defense made a profit of $330 million if jets were acquired at $65 million and $480 million if each was bought at $40 million. It's for this reason that the Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga, directed the Auditor General to institute an audit query into the jet's procurement process.
So I'll ask the clerk to write to the Auditor General and confirm whether he has not required accounts since 2004.
In spite of this, the Auditor General is reported to have last conducted an audit query into the classified expenditure of Ministry of Defense way back in 2004 after the famous junk helicopter procurement scandal. Timothy Bassi, BS Television, Parliament.